Greetings to all. I hope you're doing well. Every time suffering happens, there is this knowing that we have moved away from ourselves. Whenever we turn to ourselves, which is our real home, we observe that irrespective of what is happening externally, the peace internally does not get disturbed. And it is so easy to turn inwards that we often forget about it and try to seek solutions externally. This has been our traditional cultural conditioning to look for the answers outside. While that works in the world of material, in the world of images, images that are fleeting, images that are constantly changing, the answer is always inwards. That is why all spiritual teachers point inwards. There is a story about a woman who's married to a soldier, and she lives a very happy life with a very loving man. But then he's called for war. And he goes, but when he comes back, he's not the same man. He's distant, he's aloof, he's reactive, he doesn't want her. He leaves for days, and the wife she's having a hard time. She doesn't know what to do. She doesn't know how to connect with her man. War does that to human beings. And she has no hope. So she goes to the villagers and asks for a remedy to this problem. How should she make her husband stay at home? How should she love him so that he never goes away and becomes the same man as he was? And the villagers advise her to visit a sage that lives nearby. So she heeds to the advice and next morning goes to the sage. As she quietly enters the hut, the sage is absorbed in meditation and she calmly sits down and in a very soft voice she says, "I'm sorry to disturb the peace here, Master, but I need help." And the sage responds and asks her what is the ailment. And she tells everything about her husband, how he is distant, how he's aloof. She says, "I want my man back." And he says that your problem is a little unconventional because people here come for other type of remedies for broken bones and other physical problems, but this is a different problem. And he says that, "Give me 3 days time and I will see what I can do." So she quietly leaves and then waits for the next 3 days and then again goes to the sage. And he's again in meditation and she says, "I'm sorry to disturb the peace here, but I have come to find a solution to the problem that I'm facing." And the sage opens his eyes and says, "I have a solution, You must get a whisker from a tiger, and I will use that to make a portion that you can feed to your husband, and he won't go anywhere. Now, this is very terrifying for the little woman, and she says, "But a tiger?" He says, "Yes." And then he closes his eyes and doesn't speak a word. So she quietly leaves. Next couple of days are full of anxiety, anticipation as to how she's going to get a whisker, that too from a wild cat. It is risking her life. So she comes up with an idea. She cooks some rice and meat. And there is a cave nearby where a tiger lives. So terrified, she goes with the bowl and she just keeps it on a platform outside the cave and comes back. Next day, again, she prepares the same portion and goes to the same cave, and she sees an empty bowl. So she feels happy that her offering was accepted by the tiger. And she replaces the filled bowl and takes away the empty. So this goes on for a couple of weeks. Slowly, the tiger starts to show up near the platform. And slowly, she learns to sit close to the tiger at a reasonable distance and just watch the tiger eat, and then takes the empty bowl. After a couple of weeks, she starts patting the tiger on the head. And tiger seems unbothered. One day, she decides that today is going to be the day I'm going to get the whisker. But she feels a little scared as to how the cat will react the moment that is done. But she gathers courage, goes close to the cat, offers the bowl, pats on his head, and says very gently, "I'm going to pluck a whisker from your face, and I know it's uncomfortable. I hope you will forgive me for it." And with great courage, she plucks the whisker. The tiger pretends to be unbothered, doesn't pay any attention to that, and simply finishes the food and goes back. Now she has the whisker and she feels ecstatic, happy, and she runs to the sage. Again, the sage is sitting in meditation. So she quietly enters the hut and she sits and very gently speaks, says that, "Sorry for disturbing the peace here, but I have the ingredient that you asked for." The sage opens his eyes wide and looks at the whisker He holds it in his hand above the fire to check if it is real indeed. And he says, yes, it is the real thing. And then he drops it into the fire. And the lady is full of anger. Why did you do that? It took me so much time to get that. How am I going to get my husband back now? And the sage says, what made you do all of this? What made you go to the tiger and pluck the whisker? What made you prepare that food? And then the sage closes his eyes. And the lady breathes a sigh of relief. And she quietly thanks the sage and leaves. In this story, think of the sage as the inner wisdom that tells us to connect with ourselves. And cooking was one way the lady connected to herself. It can be different things for different people. It can be meditation, can be yoga, can be walking, can be watching the stars at night, or any other activity. For me, it was singing. I remember during my work days, when I was living my life pretending to be a corporate worker, the whole day was spent pretending to be someone, some project manager or some sort of that title. But while coming back home, when I was stuck in traffic jam, instead of switching on the radio, I would sing loudly with all the windows closed. Sing at the top of my volume. And I'm sure some passers-by would think that this guy has gone crazy. In the last couple of years, I started singing again, and it helped me to connect with that part of myself that was lost somewhere while seeking. In this story, see the tiger as fear. It's powerful. So we try and fight. But you can't fight the tiger. Yielding or surrendering is a way more powerful act, is a way more courageous act than reacting or resisting. The lady gathered courage to face her fear and saw beyond it the parts that were there but were not given light. So, this whole question of trying to get the husband back to feel fulfilled, whole, dissolved. Realization of God or presence or vastness happens in stillness. But that stillness is not a state of mind that is blank. It can happen in movement while doing daily activities of life. Attending to oneself and one's own affairs is one's primary responsibility. As selfish as it may sound, it is the best remedy to offer unconditional love to those parts that are hidden. For example, in this story, the fear, that her husband would leave was hidden, was being avoided, and a remedy was being sought to bring him back. Because there was this idea that only when he comes back, I will be happy. I will feel fulfilled and satisfied. That is where she was losing herself in the illusion of separateness. All that the sage did was to enable her to find herself, to be with herself. There is a tremendous amount of healing in being, which far exceeds anything that can be done. All right. We can have questions. So you can raise your hand and I will unmute you.
Hi everyone.
Yes. Hi.
Um, it's
Em-
funny that you started the story with a wife who wants her husband to stay in the marriage. I think I'm kind of in a similar place with some of my relationships. I've been in this journey for at least 10 years, and every relationship has triggered the core wound in me, which is I'm worthless and I'll be abandoned. And I have an anxious attachment style, and I try to cling to relationships, to people, bend over backwards, do everything in my power so that they don't leave. And coincidentally, the kind of energy I'm giving out, or whatever it is exactly makes them cause more harm to me. And again, I bend over backwards to, adjust and things like that. I don't know, even after understanding everything, that fundamentally there is no safety. When I say safety, there is like no certainty. Everything is changing. The nature of everything is always changing. People leave, jobs change, health gets worse. I understand this intellectually. I have understood this experientially too in some cases, but just with relationships, it doesn't seem to stick. I just keep doing the same thing, chasing, thinking, if I do this one thing, this one meditation, get this one practice. I even did Vipassana 10 days and all, and thought I'll be finally free from all of this, but just feels like a cycle of highs and lows. And I wanted to understand, like, what in me is fighting so hard, and how do I let go of that fight? I know there's no how, but yeah.
Yes. So, first of all, having this awareness itself, I would say, is the grace because many people are not even aware that this is happening. Now, I would say that whatever style of connection that we develop, right, it was not in our control. This style came up because of, you know, certain reasons. Childhood would, psychologists would say that it's because of childhood, you know, parenting and this and that, life in general. But the thing is, sometimes this pattern just has to repeat over and over again, and the suffering has to happen repeatedly in order for the mind to turn inwards. As in, where am I, where and why am I losing myself, connection with myself? What is it I feel that the other person is going to give me that is going to make me feel whole? The thing is, it is a very uncomfortable uh, feeling because, I understand that when somebody is anxiously attached, they form this image of the other person and they feel that the partner without them, they're just nothing and they'll, literally die if they leave. But you see, that sort of creates the friction in the relationship because if we cannot be with ourselves, the other person is also not going to be with us. That's why even Ramesh Balsekar said that our relationship with ourselves is first and foremost. And that was the message in us in the story that we haven't paid attention to our own selves. What do we want? Even if we are in a relationship, do we ever think, what do I want? What are my needs? Now, going beyond those needs into the deeper aspects of ourself, which is beyond personality, is where one finds true freedom. That is where one looks at who I really am rather than identification with this limited entity that thinks that I'm going to die if my needs are not going to be met. That that thinking where I feel that the love has to come from the outside. And once we discover that it is actually not that the love is going to come from the outside, the love is within us. Once we discover that love, then we connect with our partners in a way that the relationship becomes a celebration of life rather than we loading expectations on them and they loading expectations on us. You should do this for me, you should do that for me, you should be this way, you should be that way. So, in the end, it just comes down to this awareness, which meditation or any other activity is not going to fix, but simply attending to the discomfort that arises in the moment and staying present with it to see its source is going to is going to relieve, is going to bring that anxiousness down. Does that resonate a little bit?
Yes, it does. It does to me now in my stable nervous system state. But during a conflict,
Mm.
every knowledge, every lesson I
Exactly.
have.
That is where it has to happen. That is where it has to happen because I'm not giving you anything to hold on to. I'm not saying there is, I'm saying there is no teaching, there is no meditation, no trick, no tip that can get rid of the feeling. You have to feel it totally. You have to know it because that is you see. And you may feel that it is coming from the relationship, from the partner, from their behaviors, but actually it is something very old. Now, there's no point getting into the roots of, where it came from, how it came from, because that is again the seeking, the anxious mind. It's the same movement. But simply being present with what is, whatever is arising. Now, I do say that, okay, if it is too troublesome, if the anxiousness is too much, and if it's, uh, you know, bringing you to a state of collapse, then of course, take help. That is why therapists are there and, therapy is there, and that is where they can help you. But eventually, you will have to come to a point where you'll have to see all of this content. When you're totally present to this content, then only you will establish that connection with yourself, where you will not need anything external to feel whole. Otherwise, if you keep looking for something, some meditation, some trick, then in that process you are abandoning yourself because you are looking for as the lady was looking for a portion, the magic portion.
Yeah.
So there is no magic portion. The healing power is within you. And it is tremendous, the power of simply being present to whatever arises. And not only just being present, but being unconditionally loving towards it. Thich Nhat Hanh, have you heard of the Vietnamese monk Thich Nhat Hanh? He
Yeah.
explains this very beautifully. And this one matches with the analogy of the tiger with the lady. When the fear comes up, the fear is like tiger. That anxiousness is like a current, okay? They can be angry. So angry texting, angry, where are you? Why are you not coming and connecting? I have done all of this myself too, because I used to be anxious myself, you know,
Hmm.
and I would go through loops of relationships the same way until I just sat and examined as to why this is happening, why the same patterns are repeating. Now I can no more pinpoint anybody else. I have to come back to myself because it's a pattern and it's repeating. Maybe they're right, maybe they're wrong, who knows? Maybe they are as we label it today, toxic. So whatever it is, the thing is, it's got nothing to do with the other person. It's all here. Everything is here. The magic portion is also here, and it is called presence.
I hear you. But I want to push on one thing. So sometimes when I've tried to stay with the sensations, when there's discomfort and uncertainty, all of that, there's also a tendency for the feeling to get better
Mm,
while also watching the sensations.
mm.
So it's almost like a vigilance instead of awareness or observation.
Yeah,
And I don't know what to do about it. I try to calm myself down and, not be so vigilant, but that creates more and more and more.
exactly. Exactly. So you see, you are already doing what is required. That is, how do you know that vigilance? Something knows that vigilance, right? If you were the vigilance, you wouldn't have known it. So there
Yeah.
is a part of you that was aware, that is aware, and is seeing this whole process unfolding. Now, if I tell you that, okay, don't be vigilant. So, another part of you will rise up, which will be vigilant, that vigilance. You see?
Yes.
You see, the mind is so subtle. It is so tricky. Every time we tell the mind to do something, that hyper vigilance that it just springs up, in anxiousness. Okay, I must not do this. I must not. I'm saying let it unfold. Let the vigilance happen if it's happening. Let the discomfort also happens if it's happening. Stay present to it, you know. And of course, this path, this journey is not a linear process. You will find yourself trying to soothe yourself, distract yourself. Sometimes the pain will be too much. Understand that it's not a matter of failure. It's just a process that the body goes through. So, let's say if you distract yourself through substances, or not even substances, maybe just reading or watching television or scrolling social media or going to site or, reading something on the website, it's all fine. It's all fine. But you just watch that movement and watch how the mind is playing out. Because, the way mind plays out is, I have failed. You see, I'm trying
Mm.
and I have failed. So when I say I have failed, that feeling of unworthiness creeps in. That
Mm.
again is a separative entity. And that feeling actually is the fuel for continuing the behaviors. So, what I try to do is I continue the same behavior because I want to avoid that feeling. So I
Yeah.
just again run for solutions. So nothing needs to be done other than to simply watch what is happening and hold it in that loving presence that, okay, this has happened, this is happening, but it's okay. And you will see, as you recognize this presence more and more, all these behaviors, you will notice a tendency in you, the anxiousness will come down, and you will find yourself more present without doing anything. If you train your mind to avoid certain things using meditation to avoid the discomfort, you will find that you are training that separative system to respond to a stimulus in a certain way.
Yeah. Yeah.
You see, again, I'm not giving you anything to hold on to. I'm saying just observe.
Yeah.
That's the only pointer.
Though the mind is coming up with a how, I'm going to just let it be and let stay with the question.
Exactly, exactly. Let the
Thank you so
mind
much.
let the mind come up. Yes, it's just doing its job, I would say.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Welcome. Yes, David.
Hi, Jagjot.
Hi, hi.
Okay, I gotcha. Yeah, just to follow that and also to follow on other shares that I've had and
Yeah,
drill down into this. So, as I'm listening, and again, the mind is following it, making understanding out of it, I find myself losing. Uh, I guess I never lose it, but the mind or the experience of it is becoming more distant in terms of what you've always pointed me back to: source,
yeah,
love, um, whatever term you want to use, simply this. And so, can you speak to that? Because again, my mind, I'm trained as an analyst, I was also trained as a philosopher.
yeah,
All the words conceptually make all the sense in the world.
yeah,
Insecure attachment,
yeah,
again, the counseling that you're, I mean, again, makes all the sense in the world.
yeah.
And yet, it's so dissatisfying to the extent of, when I say dissatisfying, I mean, I just feel it takes me further from what you've constantly pointed me back to, which is resting in this, which I guess is a bit of a paradox and conundrum. Uh, in that, yeah, that's nourishing in terms of the counsel that you offered, and it's instructive. I just feel it's a further trap for me.
Yes,
And I mean, ultimately, I guess the truth is, I'm in free fall, and I just have to fall.
exactly.
um, so I don't know. Again, I don't want to dissuade you or discourage you from offering medicine. That again, I'm going to take the medicine when I'm suffering and I want comfort and I want a
Mhm,
hug. I'll
mhm,
take the hug, but
mhm.
I'm learning that the hug is not really what I'm wanting
Yeah.
and on a deep, deep soul level. So that's the sort of rub I'm in. I mean, in the relative sense, yeah, I want it. It feels good. I seek advice from friends and my therapist and so on and so forth. I read a book. I listen to what Ramana says, but
Yeah.
it's just not ultimately. So I don't know. Again, it's a
Mm,
tension for me. So I
yeah.
don't know if you could speak to that.
Yes. So you see, what this message says is it is a free fall, and the message does not give you anything to hang on to. It does not give you a single thing to hang on to. It says that you have to fall and you have to die. You
Mm,
see, you have to die. Not literal die, but die to the conceptual self. Because here's what we are doing: we're using the conceptual mind to figure it out. It's the same thing which is causing the stress in the first place. So the philosopher's mind, the psychologist's mind, the analyst's mind, it's the same thing. It's the same movement. So it tries to find solution, because the mind will always come forth with this idea, but I'm doing this, but I'm doing that, but it's not working. How am I supposed to do it? It is the how which is the trap. There is no how. It is just this total surrender with total free fall, knowing there's no solution. And it's okay. A hug is fine, from a loved one. A hug is fine. Um, or a medicine is fine. If that comes your way, that's fine too. But ultimately, it's not going to solve anything. What will eventually be freeing is to simply let that entity die that is totally concerned with this idea, because it lives with this thing that I am flawed. Like, for example, MJ mentioned anxious attachment. Oh my God, we create so much labels. I mean, tell me one human being who's not anxiously attached. I mean, people can be in different relationships, people can be attached in different ways. It depends on the dynamic. That is human, it is the human organism with its programming. There is nothing wrong with being like that. First of all, getting rid of this idea that I am flawed. That's the same movement, because when we begin with that assumption that I am here as an individual, I'm limited, I'm flawed, and I need to fix myself so that I can live a quote unquote, normal life, calm life. I have so many ideas in the book. So I read philosophy, I read scriptures, I read sages, what they have said, but I'm not connecting with myself. I'm not being present to myself. The moment discomfort arises, I'm seeking. And what all sages ultimately have said is that, the seeking has to come to an end. Now, when will it come to an end is the destiny of the mind body organism, or God's will, you can call it. But the thing is, this message does not give you any hope, because hope is a part of the fear system. In fact, it gives you this total, if you can see it in a different light, it gives you this total freedom that you're free right now. That no matter how uncomfortable the feeling is, if you attend to it, you will see that you're not the feeling. The only thing is that because the moment we experience a feeling, a sensation, a powerful sensation, let's say emotion, we just want to avoid it. And in that avoidance, the mind comes up with, but how? What should I do? Where? Nothing is helping. Yes, of course, nothing is going to help. Because nothing needs help. Nobody is broken. Nothing is broken here. It is whole. You are the unicity. So you see, it is the character in the dream that is dreaming that it is broken, it is flawed, it is limited, it needs love, it needs connection. The only pathway to connection is just, going back to yourself. If you have experienced lucid dreaming, those of you who have experienced lucid dreaming, you will notice one thing very amazing that happens in lucid dreaming. There is an awareness that I'm just a character playing in the dream. But even despite knowing that, you cannot control the flow of the dream. You see, the dream proceeds in its own way, whichever way it is proceeding. But then, whether you're living or dying or suffering in the dream, it does not matter, because deep down there is a layer of knowing that I'm not this dream. It is the same way when we wake up in this waking dream. We realize that we are not this limited entity that thinks that we are broken, that we need fixing, because the whole world tells us we need fixing. See, we can be in relationship with different people and experience different type of dynamics. For example, with a romantic partner, it may be a different dynamic. But why isn't that dynamic repeated when we are in a different relationship, let's say with our children, or with our sibling, or with our parents, or with our co-workers or friends? It is different in different ways. So you see, there is not one part of you that is flawed, that needs fixing. There is no one teaching that is going to fix you, because nothing is broken in the first place. So, I would say, I would use the word of the masters and say that even if you don't, uh, you know, even if you think that nothing is working, just move on with this conviction, with this faith that everything is whole. I am whole, and it will come to you.
That's great. Yeah, so this is where I find myself. So I trust that, I move into that spaciousness. And then in terms of my practice, constant thinking about death, endings. The words don't matter, but the feeling of it's not a contraction. I mean, it's not a doom either, because that would be too conceptual. And my body is like breaking down. I'm bursitis in both elbows. I just found out I have a heart arrhythmia. Again, I'm not necessarily worried about it, but in terms of the relative and the mundane, it's like it's not a breaking. It's and I don't see myself as broken per se, because I can move back into the spaciousness as you're pointing us to, and I can rest there and find peace. But then again, a thought, what again, it's just a thought. My kid's going to college, my kid's trans. I mean, all these layers are just like dropping away. It's like, so I'm aware in the dream, oh, and I'm catching myself in terms of the stories I want to make, which is this partner doesn't understand me. That's why I'm suffering. I can move away from that and rest in the spaciousness. But I'm telling you, it is constant. It's constant in terms of my dog blew out her knee. then I'm worried about that, then I'm thinking she's going to die. I mean, and again, I can let it go. I don't have to contract and hold on to it, but it is constant. I mean, constant. And then I'm like, okay, am I sliding into a nihilism because of this recognition of impermanence and the law of change? But then I see that as a contraction around that view and then move into spaciousness. But it's constant. I'm like, the suffering is constant.
Yes.
And I'm not afraid of it per se, but it is killing me. When you say dying,
Yeah.
it is killing me. And I'm like 55 and I'm like, okay, am I supposed to die? I will die. And then I go into again doing my sadhana, doing my practice, rest in loving awareness, but it is constant. So
Yes.
just let go, free fall,
Yeah.
trust in the knowing, the silent knowing, and just to the extent I can relax, just relax. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I just wanted confirmation because it is
Exactly.
constant
It
and
is.
I'm trying to.
It is. You may not like this, but trust me, it is perfectly and unfolding in the way it is supposed to. And
Okay.
and even in these moments where you experience spaciousness, these are the moments of grace. This itself conveys that the crack has already happened, right?
Right. Right.
So the crack, when it has happened, it only grows. Now, the thing is, we cannot control that process. How it's going to grow, how it's going to dissolve into spaciousness is not in our control. Take the master's word that you are free in this moment. Even if something falls or dies, nothing actually happens to you because you are the spaciousness, and every moment is an opportunity to tap into that spaciousness. The story that is running is not powerful, is not something you cannot handle. You are vastness, you can handle that. It is your mind, it is just another thought which says it is constant and it is very stressful. And I understand, I empathize with that thought because I have been there. I once approached a master and I said, but I'm constantly in this state of depression which is killing me.
Mm.
And he said, Jagjot, what do you want? Really, what do you want? And I thought for a moment and I said, I want peace. And the master said, what peace do you want? What is the peace that you're looking for? Do you think that things are going to change? And is that the peace that you're trying to hold on to? He says that's very fickle because nature of things, it's constantly, the Buddha said that everything is constantly changing. It is all interconnected phenomena. So everything that changes here brings a change here. What peace are you trying to hold on to? And for that one moment, I realized that I truly do not know what I really want. And that brought me to this fundamental inquiry: who is this I? Who is this me that says, I'm tired, I'm overwhelmed, I'm thinking constantly? Who is the one who knows that the thinking is happening? You are that.
Mm.
You are that.
Mm. Mm.
I know it's not
Right.
comforting, but
No, it's confirming. I don't need comfort at this point.
yeah,
Comfort is again, I'll take the hug from friends, my dog. It's confirming. So that I
yeah.
just wanted, yeah, okay. Thank you. That's really it's settling. So thank you.
All right. Okay. All right. I think we can conclude for now. I think it's already time. And thank you all for being here. And we will meet Sunday. Take care. I wish you a great day.